The Knicks may have finally figured it out. The New York Knicks showed up and showed out last night against the Miami Heat. It was like stepping into a time machine with how they played, and they put on an absolute clinic. Not only did they beat Miami 116-107, but they did it with everyone firing on all cylinders. Every single one of their starters scored at least 10 points for the third straight game. This might not sound like a big deal, but it's the first time that's happened since March 2009. That's right, 15 years ago, they're making history, and it feels like this team is heating up to a whole new level. Leading the charge, we had none other than Karl-Anthony Towns. He's already proving he might be the missing piece the Knicks needed. Towns went off for a jaw-dropping 44 points, marking the highest score by any Knick this season, and he did it in just his fourth game with New York. From the start, Towns was unstoppable, hitting shot after shot, putting up 24 points by halftime alone. This guy was locked in, and he wasn't just getting points. He was racking up rebounds too, grabbing 13 boards like it was nothing. Towns dominated the paint and nailed 11 catch-and-shoot shots, his best since 2018. That's superstar territory. And get this, Towns is now the first Knicks player since Carmelo Anthony in 2014 to put up 40 points, 10 rebounds, and shoot over 65% in a single game. He's making it look easy, and Coach Tibbs couldn't be more thrilled. He praised Towns for letting the game come to him, not forcing it, just trusting his instincts and his shot. And the results? They speak for themselves. But it wasn't just Towns lighting it up. Bridges was right there with him, draining 4 three-pointers to finish with 17 points. He was all over the floor, helping New York space out Miami's defense and hit those big shots from deep. Then there's OG and Josh Hart, each chipping in 11 and 10 points. OG's defense and Hart's rebounding were huge in giving the Knicks control of the game, proving that this starting lineup is balanced and relentless. This kind of performance isn't just luck, it's about attitude, heart, and that classic New York grit. Towns even said it himself after the game, calling out the Knicks mentality. He's loving every minute of this New York culture, the grit, and the drive to never quit. It's that mental edge, and he's fully buying into it. After playing his whole career in Minnesota, he's ready for the big city spotlight. And if last night was any indication, he's just getting started. Let's talk about that Knicks-Heat rivalry for a minute too, because this matchup had all the tension you'd expect. These two teams have clashed 173 times, with the Knicks now holding a slim edge in their rivalry, 88 wins to Miami's 85. There's a history between these teams, and Towns seems tailor-made to keep that rivalry alive. Fun fact, Towns averages over 25 points when he plays in Miami, his second highest scoring location on the road. He even joked about the warm weather helping him out after freezing his whole career up in Minnesota. It's that playful swagger that makes him a perfect fit in New York. Now think about this. The last Knicks center to score this many points was Patrick Ewing back in 1995. Towns isn't just bringing talent, he's giving Knicks fans flashes of the legends who came before him, showing the team has some serious potential. He's exactly the kind of player who can energize this roster and make big games like last night happen. And he's got that killer mix of finesse and strength, something Coach Tibbs clearly trusts. The chemistry between these guys is building fast. When every starter is contributing, the defense has no weak spots to target. If they can keep this up, we could be in for a thrilling season. And let's not forget about Coach Tibbs. You've got to appreciate the confidence he has in this group. When asked about Towns before the game, he didn't seem worried at all. It's clear he trusts Towns' instincts and knows what kind of impact he can have. Tibbs' faith in his players and his strategy to let them find their flow naturally is already paying off. The Knicks have only played 4 games and they're now 2-2. But this win, their first on the road this season, was a big statement. They showed everyone they can go head-to-head with tough teams like Miami and come out on top. Watching them find this groove, you get the sense that these players believe they're just scratching the surface of what they can accomplish together. So, what does this win mean for the Knicks? It's a signal that this season might be different. They're bringing that classic Knicks toughness, a sense of history, and a team-first mentality to every game. Towns mentioned how much he appreciates the culture and intensity of New York basketball, and that attitude seems to be rubbing off on his teammates. They're showing they're ready for whatever challenges come their way. This game against Miami wasn't just a win, it was a showcase of what they're capable of when everyone's locked in and playing with purpose. Every player contributed, and that's exactly how they're going to have to play if they want to keep winning. This was a perfect example of the teamwork, trust, and resilience that can carry them far this season. And after this game, you've got to think that they're ready to keep rolling. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I'd genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, the Knicks. The Knicks look legit, and they're just getting started. The guy I want to talk about, though, of course, Cat. Cat went off last night, dropping a monstrous 44 points against the Miami Heat. This was easily his best performance since joining New York, and if you saw him nail that and one over Jimmy Butler to close it out, you know the confidence and intensity he's bringing to the floor. Towns even flexed toward the Miami bench after that shot. He knew he was on another level, and he wanted them to know it too. What's crazy is that Towns didn't just show up with a high score. He looked like a perfect fit for this Knicks squad. Towns has always been known for his ability to score from pretty much anywhere, and it was on full display. He shot with confidence, hit his rhythm early, and kept it going all night. His combination of size, skill, and shooting is something we haven't seen at this level in a Knicks center in a long time, and he's only getting started. But it wasn't all smooth sailing from the beginning. Towns and Jaylen Brunson hadn't exactly been clicking during those first 3 games. There was some miscommunication, a lack of synergy, and it showed in the numbers. In the Knicks opening games, Towns and Brunson spent 66 minutes on the floor together, but Brunson only managed 2 assists on Towns' field goals. That's low for a duo that's supposed to be the backbone of the offense. Brunson recognized it and said he'd work on, and wow, did he deliver. On Wednesday night, you could feel the chemistry finally starting to flow. Brunson and Towns shared 27 minutes on the court, and this time, Brunson sent 20 passes Towns' way, leading to 5 assists. That's a massive improvement and a huge reason why Towns went off like he did. This type of chemistry takes teams from good to great, and now they're finally starting to click. And let's talk about that shooting. Towns' 3-point percentage is wild. He's shooting 72.7% from beyond the arc this season, which is the best percentage by any front court player with at least 8 made threes. Those numbers aren't just solid for a center. They're elite for any player. Towns is stretching the floor, giving the Knicks offense so much versatility and making it tough for opponents to cover him. When you look around the league, only a handful of players have dropped high-scoring games like Towns so far. Paolo Banchero has the highest at 5th, then Tyrese Maxey with 45. And Towns sits right up there with his 44. This guy's not just fitting in with the Knicks, he's becoming one of the most impactful players in the league this season. Plus, this performance says a lot about what Towns could bring for the rest of the year. He's in a system now where his skills can shine, and you can see he's getting more comfortable every game. The fact that he's already putting up these numbers in only his 4th game with New York, that's a sign of much bigger things to come, and Towns himself is feeling it. After the game, he said he was so locked in that he wasn't even thinking about the score or the time. He was just doing whatever it took to win. That's the attitude every Knicks fan wants to see. Someone who's so locked into making winning plays, they're lost in the game. You could tell he was dialed in and willing to give everything for this team. That kind of mindset is infectious. And with a guy like Towns leading the charge, this team's got serious potential to make noise. Coach Tom Tibbs couldn't stop raving about Towns' performance either. He loves how Towns isn't forcing anything. He's letting the game come to him and taking shots in rhythm. That's not always easy for a high-caliber player, but Towns has that balance figured out right now. He's not only asserting himself, but doing so in a way that benefits the whole team. Tibbs sees him as a very gifted scorer who can hurt opponents in so many ways, something that the Knicks haven't had in the post for years. Towns' ability to stay calm under pressure and hit big shots when it matters is something this Knicks team will rely on as the season goes on. He knows the value of the Knicks' gritty mentality and loves the New York culture of grinding out wins. He's not just playing basketball here, he's embodying the spirit of the Knicks, and that's huge for both him and the fans. He's getting a taste of what it's like to play for New York, and he's embracing it fully. What we saw on Wednesday is just the beginning. Towns has the potential to be that superstar the Knicks have needed for years. If he and Brunson keep building this chemistry, if he keeps hitting threes at a near 73% clip, and if he stays aggressive on both ends, then the sky's the limit. He's already making his mark in the Knicks-Heat rivalry, averaging over 25 points per game in Miami. That's the kind of consistency and intensity that can elevate this team to new heights. In 4 games, Towns has proven he's more than capable of shouldering the scoring load, spreading the floor, and firing up his teammates. This 44-point game is a statement to the rest of the league. Towns is here, he's ready, and he's only getting better. The Knicks have someone special, and if he keeps playing like this, there's no telling how far they'll go this season. And the craziest part, this is all with a really slow start from Jaylen Brunson. their best player. Jaylen Brunson is having a pretty surprising start to the season. There's no doubt the guy can ball. He was an All-NBA second-team player last season, an All-Star, and he even finished 5th in MVP voting. Last year, he put up almost 29 points a game with a near 48% shooting average, hitting over 40% from deep, plus contributing almost 4 rebounds and close to 7 assists a night. Those numbers are the reason Knicks fans were so hyped coming into this season. But this season, he's not exactly living up to those huge numbers just yet. Right now, he's averaging 22.8 points per game, which, while still solid, is a bit of a drop from last year's nearly 29 points. And if we break down his recent games, it's clear he's had a mix of solid performances and nights where he struggled to find his rhythm. In the season opener against the Celtics, he played only 22 minutes, but still managed to drop 24 points with a couple of assists. He definitely showed some spark there, though not the Brunson takeover we're used to seeing. Then, against the Pacers, he stepped up a bit, scoring 26 points in 30 minutes, going 10 for 19 from the field with 5 boards and 5 assists. Not bad, right? But then came the game against the Cavs. He played 38 minutes, which was his longest stretch so far this season, and scored 21 points. But his shooting was off, 8 for 24 from the field and 0 for 4 from three-point land. The shots weren't falling like they should, and it seemed like he was forcing it a bit, trying to find that groove. By the time they faced the Heat, it looked like he was trying to balance playmaking and scoring. He put up 22 points in 36 minutes, but his shooting struggles were still there, going 6 for 18 overall and just 3 for 7 from beyond the arc. It's like he's right there on the edge of breaking out, but just not quite hitting the mark. He did grab 9 assists that night, which shows he's looking to involve his teammates more. His overall shooting percentage this season sits at 44%, a drop from last season's 47.9%. And his three-point shooting, while still respectable at 38.9%, is just under last year's 40.1%. The difference isn't massive, but it's noticeable when you're used to him being such a deadly efficient scorer. Now here's the exciting part. If this is what Brunson is producing at a slow start, then imagine the kind of lift the Knicks will get when he finds his form. This guy's got ice in his veins and a clutch gene that few players in the league can match. When he fully gets into his rhythm, the entire team's dynamic is going to shift up a gear. He's adjusting right now, whether it's finding chemistry with the newer rotations or just shaking off the early season rust. And we've all seen it before. Sometimes a player just needs a few games to get fully locked in. Once he's hitting those shots, like he was last season, pushing that shooting percentage back up, the Knicks offense is going to open up in ways that'll make them so much harder to defend. One of the Knicks' most interesting players I want to talk about, though, Bridges. Now, if you're following New York's moves closely, you know there's been a lot of chatter about what they gave up to get him, but honestly, when you dig into what Bridges brings to the table, you see that the value here goes way beyond a simple trade debate. The Knicks didn't just add another player to the roster, they added someone who's capable of elevating the entire team. Bridges has already shown his impact, and it's only getting better from here. Let's start with his recent performance. In a game against the Heat, Bridges dropped 17 points, stacked up 6 assists, had 2 steals, and swatted away 2 blocks. That's the kind of stat line that proves he's all over the court, impacting both ends. And just think about his Knicks home debut, 21 points, 5 assists, and a plus 13 rating. He was efficient too, hitting 8 of 12 shots, including 2 of 3 from deep. That's some serious productivity, and he's making every minute count. You can already see how much of an asset he is. What makes Bridges really exciting is his adaptability. Before the season, people were worried about his jump shot. He tweaked it a bit, and it wasn't quite falling in the preseason. Just 2 of 19 from three-point range, but you know what? Tibbs wasn't sweating it. He put it perfectly, saying Bridges has been a career 38% shooter from 3, and he's betting on that history. Tibbs has confidence in Bridges, and it's paying off. Now as the season unfolds, his shot looks solid and reliable, giving the Knicks another weapon on offense. Bridges isn't just a shooter though. What's so amazing about him is that he's the ultimate glue guy. This Knicks roster is full of complex pieces that work together, and Bridges is that guy who makes everything smoother. His presence on the floor is like adding an extra layer of defense, hustle, and smart decision making. And let's not forget his playmaking. Those 6 assists against the Heat and 5 in his home debut show he's not just looking for his own shot. He's finding his teammates and creating better looks for everyone else, which elevates the whole team's offense. Now Bridges' defense, it's stellar. He's one of those players who can guard multiple positions and is always hustling. In Miami, he snagged 2 steals and 2 blocks, making life hard for his opponents. His ability to disrupt the other team's offense is huge. He's like the ultimate safety net on the floor, someone who can make up for a missed assignment or a bad switch. That kind of defensive IQ and athleticism is invaluable for the Knicks. Plus, when you're racking up stats like blocks and steals regularly, it's not just about numbers. It's about momentum. Those defensive plays spark the team, and you can feel the energy shift when Bridges makes one of those stops. The Knicks have needed someone like Bridges, a player who understands when to step up and when to blend in. He's one of those players who doesn't demand the spotlight, but always finds a way to make a difference. And that's huge for a team like New York, where balancing star power and role players is key. Bridges' blend of talent and humility makes him a perfect fit here. And it's not just Tibbs who's noticing. His teammates know the value Bridges brings to the table. They see him hustling, locking down defenders, setting up plays, and even diving for those 50-50 balls. That's the kind of commitment that builds trust on a team. Bridges has fit into this lineup so seamlessly, it's almost like he's been there for years. He's already become one of the more reliable voices on the court, someone who's leading by example and showing what it takes to win in New York. So, let's talk about his long-term potential. Bridges is just getting started. He's working through his shooting tweaks, dialing in his defensive positioning, and building chemistry with this lineup. With the level of talent and dedication he brings, he's only going to get better. And as the season rolls on, that improvement is going to elevate the entire Knicks squad. But besides him, the guy who's arguably been a top player for the Knicks this season, Josh Hart. Josh Hart's been a revelation for the Knicks. At just 6 feet 4 inches tall, he's carving out a reputation as one of the best rebounders in the game. Can you believe that? He's got the heart and hustle that just can't be taught. It's not just about size, it's about effort. And this guy brings it every single night. Tom Tibbs said it perfectly when he mentioned how Hart has no other agenda than winning. Hart's commitment is just off the charts. It's what makes him such a valuable piece for this team. It's not just about the points, it's about the grit, the hustle, and the heart he puts into every play. In a recent game against the Miami Heat, Hart started off the night as questionable due to a contusion in his lower leg. But did that stop him? Nope. He powered through the pain, playing a whopping 42 minutes and finishing with a staggering 14 rebounds. That's game-high stuff right there. He's not just filling the stat sheet, he's changing the game with his effort. Remember that game against the Cleveland Cavaliers? Knicks fans were probably holding their breath when Hart asked for a substitution after a tough collision, but if anyone could handle that kind of pressure, it's Hart. He's known for his durability and conditioning. Over the past 2+ years, he's built a reputation for being the guy you can count on, no matter the circumstance. That night, after some negative x-rays, he reassured everyone that he was good to go. "I didn't want to be too prideful," Hart said, explaining his decision to ask out of the game. "I didn't want to not be able to be myself or defend or rebound at the level I do, especially at the end of the game." That shows how selfless he is. He knows when to step back for the greater good of the team. Hart has been invaluable for the Knicks. He's thriving in his role, and it's evident that he's tailor-made for it. His presence on the court is a game changer. Last season alone, Hart played in 374 of 389 possible minutes in the playoffs. That's just wild. He's a machine. Let's talk about playoff history for a second. Since the ABA-NBA merger in 1976, only 6 players have logged more minutes over an 8-game span in the playoffs. And those names? Legendary. Larry Bird, Nick Van Exel, Gary Payton, Allen Iverson, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. That's elite company right there. When you see your name alongside those legends, you know you're doing something right. Hart played the entire game for the 4th time last postseason. In Knicks history, only one player recorded more of those games in a single playoff run. Jerry Lucas back in 1972. That's some serious endurance. He's pushing boundaries and setting records. It's amazing to see a player putting that much effort while still being so effective. Now let's get to those rebounds. Josh Hart grabbed 60 rebounds over 4 playoff games. Only Patrick Ewing has snagged more rebounds, 62 over a 4-game span in Knicks history. That's how you make your mark. Hart's not just filling in, he's rewriting the history books with his performance. And get this, Hart averaged 12.8 rebounds per game last postseason. That's the highest number by a player under 6 feet 5 inches in a single postseason. He's making history, folks. Paul Arizin and Cliff Hagan are the only other players close to that average. Can you imagine being mentioned with names like that? Hart's impact goes beyond the stats. His energy is contagious. When he steps on the court, it's like he lifts everyone's spirits. His hustle inspires his teammates. He's the kind of player who doesn't just play the game, he elevates it. When he goes after those rebounds, it's not just about grabbing the ball. It's about setting a tone. Hart's ability to rebound is a crucial asset for the Knicks. In a league where size often dominates, he shows that Hart and hustle can level the playing field. He's always in the right place at the right time. He has that knack for finding the ball, whether it's battling down low or soaring for it in the air. He's always ready to put in that extra effort. The way he battles on the boards is nothing short of impressive. He has a knack for boxing out and creating opportunities for his teammates. His ability to fight through screens and navigate traffic to grab that rebound is a skill that's rare. Every rebound he gets is another chance for the Knicks to push the pace or set up for an efficient play. Hart's rebounding also helps them transition from defense to offense seamlessly. It allows the Knicks to create fast break opportunities. When he snags a board, he's not just holding on to it, he's looking to push the tempo. It adds a dynamic element to their game. And let's not forget his defensive prowess. Hart is known for being a pest on defense. He doesn't shy away from putting in the work. His hustle extends to every facet of the game. He's tenacious, always fighting for every loose ball and every rebound. His grit sets an example for everyone around him. Watching Hart play is a treat. He's got that intensity and passion that draws fans in. Every rebound he snags, every loose ball he dives for, makes you want to cheer. It's that raw energy that makes the Knicks games so exciting. You never know when he'll make a game-changing play, whether it's crashing the boards or making that crucial defensive stop. Hart's contributions are immeasurable. He's more than just a role player. He's a cornerstone of what the Knicks are building. The way he fits into the team structure, it's like he's been there forever. He knows his role and he plays it to perfection. Hart's been a huge part of the team's success. He brings a level of reliability and toughness that's hard to find. In the midst of a long season, having a player like him on the roster is invaluable. It gives the coaching staff peace of mind knowing they have a guy who can perform at a high level night in and night out. As the season progresses, I can only imagine how much more Hart will continue to impact the game. His work ethic and determination show that he's not satisfied with just being good. He wants to be great. And with that mindset, he'll keep pushing the limits of what he can achieve. Every time he steps on the court, I can't help but feel excitement for what's to come. His passion and love for the game shine through in every play. Whether it's making that clutch rebound in the closing moments or diving for a loose ball, Hart gives it everything he has. The Knicks are lucky to have Josh Hart on their side. His relentless pursuit of greatness is inspiring. As he continues to grow and develop, I can't wait to see how he elevates his game even further. The best part, he's only going to get better. Besides him though, a guy who has improved so much, Duce McBride. Absolutely. Duce McBride is absolutely lighting it up this season. His play is turning heads, and it's clear he's becoming an invaluable asset for the Knicks. He's showing veteran leadership too, by teaching players like Ariel Hukporti the importance of those garbage time minutes. I mean, how many times have we seen young players take those minutes for granted? McBride's been there. He knows the grind. He's reminding everyone not to throw those precious minutes away, because that's how he earned his minutes. Trust is built in these moments, and Duce is making sure the younger guys understand that. Now let's dive into the numbers. McBride is off to a wildly efficient start, averaging a fantastic 14.7 points per game. But the real jaw dropper, he's shooting an insane 65.4% from the field and 61.5% from three-point range. Can you believe that? This dude is straight up raining threes and finishing at the rim like it's his job. When you look around the league, there are other bench players like Buddy Hield from the Golden State Warriors, Peyton Pritchard from the Boston Celtics, and Ochai Agbaji from the Toronto Raptors, all scoring at high levels. But here's the kicker. McBride is doing it even better. He's putting up numbers that could make him the Knicks' first Sixth Man of the Year since 2013. James L. Edwards III from the New York Times dropped a mind-blowing stat about McBride that I just have to share. He's the only player in the entire NBA this season to take at least 5 pull-up jumpers and not miss. That's right, not one miss. He's scoring in a variety of ways off the dribble. And when you look at past sixth-man winners, that's the archetype that's been a common thread among them. McBride fits the mold perfect, just like Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, and Jordan Clarkson. It's clear McBride's proving last season was no fluke. He's gotten comfortable rising up off the dribble and knocking down those jump shots. He's showing that he can find his own shot in a variety of ways, and let me tell you, the Knicks need that kind of versatile scoring. His on-ball defense is also off the charts. That pesky style of play is exactly what the team needs. Imagine what he can do when he's in the flow. With his scoring ability and defensive tenacity, he's becoming an essential part of the Knicks' championship aspirations. He's got what it takes to elevate the team. His efficient track record backs it up too. Now, let's break down his scoring even more. McBride's got this unique ability to create his own shot, which is so crucial for a team like the Knicks that needs to stretch defenses. When he pulls up for a jumper, defenders have to respect him. They can't just sag off. This opens up opportunities for his teammates, allowing for better ball movement and spacing on the court. And don't forget his impact on the defensive end. McBride isn't just a one-way player. He's tenacious on defense. His quick hands and ability to stay in front of his man create problems for opposing offenses. You can see how he frustrates players, forcing turnovers and getting the Knicks out in transition. There's just something about a player who can lock down on defense and then turn around and score. That's the kind of player you need on a championship caliber team. The energy he brings is contagious too. Every time he steps on the court, you can feel the intensity rise. His hustle and willingness to put in the work is inspiring. And that's not just my opinion. Coaches and teammates are noticing it too. They're rallying around him, feeding off that energy. Plus, let's talk about his maturity. For a young player, Duce shows a level of poise that's beyond his years. He's not just playing for himself, he's thinking about how he can make the team better. His leadership qualities are shining through, and that's something the Knicks desperately need. I can't stress enough how vital McBride is to this team. He's not just a bench player, he's becoming a difference maker. With the way he's playing, the Knicks have a secret weapon. And if he keeps this up, it's going to be tough to keep him off the floor. What's really exciting is that he seems to be getting better each game. The more he plays, the more confident he becomes. His shot selection is improving, and his understanding of the game is growing. That's a scary thought for opponents. Imagine trying to game plan against a player who's constantly evolving and getting more dangerous. I think one of the most impressive things is his work ethic. You can tell he puts in the time. From the way he's been shooting, it's clear he's been in the gym, working on his craft. Players like McBride are rare. They don't just rely on their talent. They put in the effort to improve every single day. Now, what does this mean for the Knicks moving forward? If McBride continues to perform at this level, they'll have a legitimate shot at competing for a title. His ability to come off the bench and provide instant offense while also locking down on defense is invaluable. They've got something special here with him. With all that said, I can't wait to see how the rest of the season unfolds for McBride. He's already making a name for himself. And if he keeps it up, he could be in the conversation for that 6th Man of the Year award. I mean, how incredible would that be for him and the Knicks? I'm really excited about his future. If he keeps pushing himself and building on this momentum, the sky's the limit. The Knicks have a gem in McBride, and they need to ride this wave as long as they can. His impact on the court and in the locker room is going to be crucial for this team. It's time for fans to take notice. Duce McBride is a player you want to watch. Whether he's pulling up for a three, driving to the hoop, or making a game-changing defensive play, he's going to bring the energy and excitement every time he's on the floor. So let's give credit where credit is due. McBride is not just a role player, he's becoming a star. And the best part, this is just the beginning. The more he plays, the more he'll continue to shine. There's no doubt in my mind that Duce McBride is a player to watch this season. His hard work and dedication are paying off, and he's proving that he belongs in this league. Knicks fans should be excited because this kid is only going to get better. With the way he's performing, there's a good chance he'll be making a significant impact for years to come. The future looks bright for Duce McBride and the Knicks. Overall though, if Karl-Anthony Towns and Jaylen Brunson find that chemistry on the court, the Knicks could be a serious force in the league. Just imagine the offensive firepower they'd unleash together. Towns' versatility, combined with Brunson's playmaking skills, would create a dynamic duo that could dominate defenses. With Towns stretching the floor and Brunson slicing through defenses, they'd open up so many scoring opportunities for each other and their teammates. This isn't just about individual talent. It's about how they could elevate the entire team's game. If they click quickly, the Knicks could easily contend for a championship. With their talent and work ethic, they have everything it takes. And let's not forget the energy and passion they bring to the court every night. Fans would be in for a treat watching this duo thrive. The potential is sky high, and if they gel, the Knicks could make some serious noise in the playoffs. It's an exciting time to be a Knicks fan. They have the pieces, and with Towns and Brunson on the same page, the possibilities are endless. A championship run might just be around the corner. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.